Ever wonder why some public trader locations sell items faster than others? Want to know which areas sell items the fastest? Keep watching. Hi, folks. Welcome to Rudy Vision. Today I'm going to be discussing the ranking of each public trader location from best to worst in terms of the fastest sales volume. Now, just a disclaimer before I get into the rank system here and discuss it more in depth. I just want to say that no matter what location you're in, whether it's the best or the worst in this game, you can always make a lot of gold. You just have to have the right price. However, there are certain locations in this game that sell items a lot faster and easier than other zones. So, with that in mind, I'm going to give you my ranking system of the best to the worst public trader locations. Now, I break down my rank system into 6 tiers, with the first tier being the best and the last tier, or the 6th tier, being the worst. Now, without further ado, the best location and the tier 1 location in this game is Mournhold, hands down. I won't get too much debate on this one because everybody knows that Mournhold traders are the best in this game. They sell items super fast and super easy. But you got to know how to price your items and you got to know the market. It's very aggressive competition if you're in a Mournhold public trader. You get a lot of people wanting to do business and a lot of sellers within that guild. So the dues are typically anywhere from 20k up. So it's very expensive to be in a Mournhold trader. However, if you know what you're doing, then the sky's the limit in terms of the gains you can get out of a Mournhold trader. You just have to have a plan, and then from there, you can make a lot of gold. But Mournhold traders, anyone, and when I say Mournhold traders, I mean within the capital city. I'm not talking about the outskirts of Deshen. I'm talking within Mournhold itself, the capital city. Okay. Now, the second tier is any capital city aside from Mournhold, which would be Wayrest or Eldenroot. Now, these zones almost do as much business as Mournhold, but Mournhold probably does a lot more, depending on what you're selling. Some people will say, I do better in, non-Mournhold traders. Other people will say the opposite. It really depends on what you're selling. But in terms of my experience, because I am in a Mournhold trader, I can tell you the sales do a lot better in Mournhold than they would in a capital city zone. But when I'm citing capital cities for tier 2, I'm referring to Wayrest and Eldenroot. And the dues typically for a Wayrest or an Eldenroot public trader range from about 5 to 15k. Most of them are 10k traders, but you'll find some that are 5 on the low end, and then you'll find typically that first spot in Wayrest, that's like mini Mournhold in my opinion, that one could be as high as 15k sometimes. And the reason for that is in its proximity to the Way Shrine. So when you get out of the Way Shrine, that's the first trader you see and interact with. So that's why that particular public trader of the 7 in that area does more business than the others within Wayrest. It's not something that's talked about often, but I'm spilling the beans on it. The next tier is tier 3, and that's going to be high traffic non-capital cities. These would be zones like Craiglore or I would even say Vivec too. I'm not going to go through, I'm not going to cite every zone I think that is a high traffic zone in my tier 3 category. I'm just going to give you some examples. If I spelled them all out on video, it would take forever, this video. But I'm just giving you a brief overview. But anyways, the high traffic zones in tier 3, the dues are typically 5 to 10K. They don't do as much business as capital cities or Mournhold traders, but they still do a pretty decent amount of volume in those traders. The next tier is tier 4, and that's any zone that's a regular non-DLC city zone. So I'll give you an example. Let's say Uridon and Skywatch, those 5 traders would be a a, um, a regular city zone. Ebonheart, those 5 within the city, and even the Davin's Watch spot, you can count and lump that into um, the respected tier 4 zone. Bancori, I'll just use that as another example. Within the city, those 5 traders would be considered a tier 4 zone. Now, the dues in tier 4 zones can be anywhere from 5K, and in some cases, you can even find a couple that are free. So it really depends on the respective guild and who you're dealing with. Um, with the guild that you're in. Some are free, others are not, but it's about 50-50, I would say. Um, some are going to be dues required, and some are not going to be. Now, Tier 5 is going to be any zone in the game except for an underground trader or what's called the Outlaw's Refuge. Okay? And this is where the sales volume starts going below average. Tier 4, you get about average volume. And then when you slip into Tier 5, you get below average sales now. But typically, you'll find a lot of free guilds. And when I say free guild, that means a no-due guild. You don't have to pay any dues to use the public trader that they won. And the final ranking is the underground locations in Tier 6, or the Outlaw's Refuge. I rank these traders as the worst. And the reason why they are the worst is because you have to go through an additional load screen, wait a few seconds longer, and then try to find in that Outlaw's Refuge where the heck the trader is. Sometimes it's even hidden, and you're like, where the heck is it? So, because they are so tedious to find and they take so long to get to, you get the worst sales volume in these traders. Now, you'll get a lot of free dues, traders, and when I say free dues, it's any guild that doesn't have a due system. But you'll get a lot that are free because they know that the sales volume isn't there in these respective traders. They are the easiest to win for the bids. However, that doesn't mean like I said, that doesn't mean they're good, and that doesn't mean they're always going to be cheap bids. It just means that, in terms of the value of their bid, you would want to bid lower on the underground locations or Outlaw's Refuge as opposed to the other regions in the game. Now, there's always exceptions to the rule, and I'll give you an exception here. The Davin's Watch spot underground in the Outlaw's Refuge, that actually does more business than the regular underground spots, and I would rank that a couple tiers up. Conversely, Hughes Bane, I would give probably, even though that would be a tier 5 zone in my ranking system, that I would actually give a lower rank, probably a tier 6, because it does such horrible business out there. So I'm giving you kind of a broad ranking system here. I'm not listing every single zone because some zones I just haven't sold in. Others I have sold in and I know the business. But this is a general overview of the ranking system of the public traders out there. And I hope this is helpful in making kind of your decision on, what type of trader you want to utilize in the game. It's good to have kind of a diverse portfolio. You want to have a mixture of, non-high profile zones and high profile zones just to kind of have your hands everywhere in the game. All right, folks. So this concludes my ranking system. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider becoming a subscriber. I put out videos each and every week on Elder Scrolls Online, and I'll see you next time.